Welcome resilient and thriving agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, March 19th, 2020, and this is Mastermind call number 270. That's easy for me to say. What's so funny, Tim?
I'm afraid you were going to say resistant and throbbing.
Thriving. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about our customers. Seriously, though, everybody, we appreciate it. We got a great turnout, not quite a record, but we're getting there. And I just wanted to start off with a couple remarks that I think are pretty poignant. We've got a great sales team. Most of you have probably spoken to them. And one of our salespeople over the weekend had a really positive comment to the group. They said, I'll bet starting Monday, people are going to be home. I bet our actual conversations go through the roof, and people we haven't been able to get a hold of will be able to reach. And it was a self-fulfilling prophecy because we had one of our best sales days ever on Monday. And I would say the same thing to you guys. I've been a realtor for 45 years, and I've been an investor for 40. I've been through 13 3/4 interest rates, the Gulf War, the Great Recession, the meltdown. And one thing is for sure, I saw a great quote on Facebook: you can't calm the storm, but we can calm ourselves and the storm will pass. And just like our salesperson said to our agents, I would say the same thing to you guys. No matter, fortunately, we sent out some email, and we got some clients back from our customers, and I was just blown away the positive nature of it. Every single one of them. You guys are not typical realtors and investors. The mindset is phenomenal. And knock on wood, we have yet to have a single person call and say, I want to take a break until the virus passes. I mean, just the opposite. We've had about a half a dozen people. I had a lady yesterday that's been in our database for 4 years. She calls me every March, and I answered the phone and said, hey, must be March, you're calling again. She said, all right, I'm finally ready. I'm finding a lot of my FSBOs and not a lot, but some of my listings won't let me show them. And the good thing about probate is usually they're absentee owners. I can get them on the phone and the property is empty. So I would say to you guys, I'm in Florida, and they always tell us before a hurricane, hunker down is a famous expression that they use, that even if you're in the worst of markets now, if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and you can only leave to go to the grocery store or the doctor, what a great time to get all your probate leads and get on the phone and call them. You can have long-distance listing presentations. You can stop and look at the property on the way to the grocery store or doctor and get it on the market and get it listed, and keep your pipeline going, so when this thing does pass, whether it's weeks or months, hopefully you're not going to be any worse off, and you could even be better off if you just really focus on this niche until things get better. So like I said, calm ourselves and the storm will pass. That is my words of wisdom, and thank you to our salesperson, Darcy, sharing that. And I'd be curious if any of you are experiencing the same thing this week. Are you finding that your number of contacts per call are going up? If so, jump on and share that with us. And as Forrest Gump said, that's all I got to say about that. Tim, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I've got several announcements that I intend to make, and I'll kind of get at them real quick. So as I said, when I assume a lot of you had a chance to read the email that I sent out, and we are literally meeting every single day, multiple times during the day to, talk about what we can do to make things better and add more value to what we're doing. And one of the things we literally continue to focus on is what can we do to add more value to your lives, and by concert having you add more value to the lives of the people that you're talking to and lead in this time of challenge. And we're not going to say it's not a challenging time, but we, like everybody else that does well in challenges, we're rising to the occasion. That's our intent. So a couple of things that we've decided to do. I mentioned in the letter that we have made a new couple of letters for historical. Those are available online now. One is for investor side, the other is for realtor side, and they literally quite gently talk about the fact that people's motivation level is higher now probably than it was a week or so ago in certain circumstances to convert a house that they're sitting on that may be in probate and they had been waiting to get anything done with it. Now they need to move it, and so it's an opportune time to go do that. And we've been talking for the last couple of months about how historical leads season well, and we know for sure that right now that seasoning is much better than it ever was, and so we put this program together. In addition to that, we're trying to make it more advantageous for you to do and use that facility, so we're reducing the price of the letters from $1.50 to $1.25 a letter if you order 50 or more. If you order less than 50, then we're still going to have to charge you $1.50 because we have to cover costs and get things done. But if you'll order 50 or more, we'll lower the price on it. And we're putting stuff together, continuing to do that. Some other things I'll also say just in regard to mailing. If you are a realtor and you want to get a message out directly to your customers that you have now that are your farming group or your hot leads list or wherever you consider to be your customer base, this would be a great time for you to communicate with them via direct mail and send them a personal message. Let them know that you're there to help them, and if they need to use your services, you're prepared and ready, willing, and able to get that done. And if you want to get that message out, all you have to do is create that letter. We'll help you do it, and we'll help you get it out to your customer list as well. If you want to do a custom letter that comes from you and from your heart, then we'll encourage you to do that. And again, if you need some help putting that together, we'll be happy to help you do that. But we'll be happy to mail anything you want to get out. We're a great way to deliver that message. Second thing is we are reopening for order the ISA program. We had shut it down about a month and a half, 2 months ago, simply because we weren't finding the same level of success we had been finding. And it's for the exact reason that Jim mentioned. We just weren't finding enough people at home because we're only calling the people that aren't on the do not call list. Well, what we're finding is that obviously in the last week, our results have gotten significantly better for the people that we're still calling. And if you recall, when I announced that we were shutting it down, I said we would continue to make the calls for people who are on autopilot, and we've done that. And we're just getting better results by the day. So I'm not trying to, say, oh, it's the end-all, do-all, but definitely we're getting better results, much more opportunity to talk to people. So we're reopening that, and we'll be taking your orders for that. You want to get back into the ISA program, we're ready to get that done. We are spending some time now to take a look at what we can potentially offer you also in regard to an email program, and we haven't had enough time to really say grace over that and make sure we get it right and have something legitimate to talk to you about, but it's kind of next on my plate to take a look at. I put an email program out to help you do that, and one of the things that my wife mentioned to me this morning is that, this is our challenge right now is to find a way to do great business in a world of social distancing, and so we need to find ways to do that, and that's what we're here to help you do. We're trying to help you stay in touch with your customer base, keep them alive, and keep your business moving while we get through all this, and that's what we're all about, and we're going to do that every day and keep working hard for you. That's my story, and I'll now kick it over to Chad.
Thanks, Tim. So from my wheelhouse, we are very quickly pulling together training programs to kind of help you guys learn not only just how to weather a shifting market like we're about to see, but how to thrive in that. And my brain loves this because I had to learn how to do this. I built my career in that environment. And I have always been attracted to the more, the distress side of real estate. I'm a blue ocean guy, and I find opportunity in plain sight. And usually when everybody else is panicking, that's the time to run toward the obstacle. And so each night I'm on Mastermind calls and having conversations with real estate professionals all over the country. And we're pulling together, it's probably will end up being a series of live interactive webinars that will, subscribers can come to. You can come there. It'll be kind of like live coaching. That'll take shape. So watch our Facebook page, our Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind, and also your email if you're, a subscriber. And those will be, I'm not sure of the exact schedule, dates, times, where to go right now. We'll post that once we've kind of figured out what the curriculum is and over what time period. But trust that the ownership of this company, we've weathered storms before, and we've found ways to thrive. we chose this business because we believe this is probably the most insulated and of all lead generation in real estate. This is what we firmly believe is the best list in an up market, in a down market, in a transitioning market. And we understand that maybe you haven't been through that. Maybe you don't have the skill set you need now, and that's our commitment to you. The question you have to ask yourself is, do I need money in August? And if so, how do you make money? How do you put that in the pipeline in a shifting environment? And that's what I hope to share with you and show you some of the more creative things that I've done, some of the negotiating tactics, some of the technology tools that can be used. I've taken probate listings by uploading a video to YouTube and docu-signing a contract to a person who worked third shift. And there's a lot of experience that I've had in doing things differently that I think everybody can benefit from, and we'll create an environment where we can all share our best ideas and really come together and help this be, a lot of people are going to get damaged in this. It doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be your business. You can actually make this your best year ever if you step up, and the obstacle is the way, to be stoic. So if you run toward this and you insist on persevering, we'll show you how to do it, but we need commitment from you guys, and we'll step up and do everything we can and be available to you guys as much as possible. And let's make this a good story to look back on.
Hey, Chad,
well said.
Are you doing this and you're not going to do Mastery this month, but you're going to offer this program instead, is that right?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be space to do Mastery. This is it started as one video. I'll just tell everybody this, and when I realized in order to teach everything I want to teach, it's going to have to be a series, and it's going to be several hours of content, and it will be archived and available to you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and call Mastery for the month, and we'll pick back up in April with the regular Mastery schedule.
Okay.
And anyone who's, I will say this, we still have several folks have signed up for Mastery in the last couple of days. Like if you're stuck at home, if you're social distancing and you'd like to step up your probate game, in January we did a 15 and a half hour class, and then the February class was similar. So if you're waiting for Mastery, go ahead and sign up, and we'll send you the recordings from those really, really good in-depth classes. And then whenever the next live sessions are scheduled, then we'll manually register you, and you'll be able to come to the interactive ones. But don't wait. Now, there's no time like now to really sharpen your axe and be ready for the opportunity ahead of us. So if you're thinking about Mastery, go ahead and jump in and sign up. We'll get you the recordings. If you have questions, you can call the coaching line. We have coaches that you can get on my calendar, and any blind spots you have, we'll work on one-on-one with you.
And I want to stress that as well, that one of the things that's most helpful in times like this is, in fact, somebody to talk to about what you're running into. And very, very specifically, one of the values that we add is the availability of high-quality coaches that have experience, that understand how to talk to customers in any circumstance. And if you need help, all you got to do is ask. Just pop into support, drop us a note, and say, hey, somebody give me a call. I got some questions. And we'll get right to you, and we'll make sure that you get heard. And if you got stuff that we can help you with, we'll be right there to get it done. So I think hopefully you're certainly hearing from all of us that we're in this to win it and help you to do the same thing. And anything you need, we're here to do it and help you get it done. And with that,
awesome.
Let's rock in there.
Yeah, Chad, just to clarify, Chad, Mastery, there's a charge. You're going to forego Mastery, and the program you're talking about is going to be for existing subscribers at no charge. Is that correct?
Well, if you guys want to give me money, I guess I'll take it. Anyone who wants to make donations, business is open.
No, it's funny. Whenever you mention one of those,
the intent is, our culture. This company was built on our number one core value is provide value first. And when everyone else is freaking out and losing their minds, the best thing we can do is step up and continue to provide more value to you guys. We want you to be the leading, the point of the spear coming through and out the other side of this. and we'll step up and you know, we'll put our money where our mouth is.
And I have an announcement, Tim. We now have a record number of people on the call. We really do, and we've got 14 people in the queue.
Wow.
So so I tell you guys right now, we're probably going to go considerably over an hour in with what's going on. I mean, I don't think we can go 2 hours. We want to get you guys back to work, but probably should budget a good extra 10 to 15 minutes today. So let's get going. First up this week is phone number ending in 1900. You're up first. Gladys, I think that's you. Are you there?
Oh, yes. You hear me?
I know what you're going to say, so I chose you first. You moved to the top of the line.
I went clear to number 6. Come on.
I wanted to make sure we got you in because you got some really inspiring story to share. Please share it with the group. I was on a coaching call with Gladys, and she just nonchalantly told me about the weekend she had, and I said, "Man, you got to come on the call and share it." So please share it with the group in as much detail as you want to.
Yeah, I took 5 listings over the weekend, and 3 of them are already pending, so I'm kind of excited. 2 of them are probate, but that's kind of cool. I feel good.
And I think you also shared that you had 2 probate closings last week.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
and got one active, one pending, and a couple in the works. So.
Now, Gladys, I'm going to ask you a question. I don't want anybody on the call to emulate you, but how many phone calls did you make to get 5 listings and 2 closings?
I haven't made any. I'm sorry.
Well, shame on you.
You shouldn't have asked me that.
For some reason, Gladys, your letters are working like wildfire, and tell us the conversations when people are calling you from the letters. Are they come get me listings, or what's going on?
They've called, and you know, I enjoyed your letter. Send me more information, and I would send a packet of things I can do for them, and it's been very helpful. So yeah, I'm doing, basically I started doing 3, I'm doing 2 now. I think I'm going to increase it for a couple more, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think, Gladys, I had suggested that you do a 1, 2, 3, and 6 month letter because since you're not calling them, there's a lot of people that, you know, probably are going to be ready to do something after 6 months. And just realistically, if you picked up the phone and called them, can you imagine what could be possible? How many more deals could you do?
Well, I just created the voice message, so that's
okay. Good.
This week.
Good.
So, yeah, and that will
excellent.
Be, stating that, you know, you probably received 1 or more of my letters. I just want to follow up and let you know that I specialize in probate estate. To the fact I have experienced it personally myself 3 times. I know how overwhelming it can be, and I'm here to help you in whatever way I can. Just something, you know, very personal.
Amazing. Chad, any questions for Gladys?
Yeah, I'm curious, like, what was the mindset of your sellers? I think, you know, a lot of people are concerned that sellers will pull listings from the market. They don't want their homes shown. Like, what was the tone of the conversation that you were having?
No, so far, one of my probate listings is occupied by a daughter in her family, but the others have been vacant, so that has not been an issue at all.
Yeah.
And even the occupied one, she wants, you know, she's begging for an open house, so, you know, I don't think there's that much fear.
Yeah, and your buyers physically saw the house already, or did they write sight unseen offers?
They saw the house.
Okay. So business as usual.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's a little bit of slowdown, but we're still very busy.
Well, that's great.
You know, the rates are still good. There's still plenty of buyers out there, and so.
And Gladys, you're in a market that you get. I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but your lead count, you're getting, you know, you're averaging around 50 leads a month, right?
Right.
So I mean, that even makes this more stunning. It's not like you're in a huge major financial marketplace with zillions of people. You're doing this in a great market, but it's a smaller market.
When I first started last fall, I got about 3 attorneys that called me and told me off, and so I was almost ready to quit, but kind of I revised my letters and just kept going, and it's starting to really pay off.
Well, that's a great way to start
awesome.
today. Thank you.
Yeah, good for you. And the moral of the story isn't don't make your phone calls, but it is.
Really?
I think the moral of the story is send your letters, and these leads, like we always say, they season incredibly well. And if you just stick with it and don't give up after a month or two, that's phenomenal. And I'm anxious to see how the voice cast does for you. Gladys was honest and shared with me that she doesn't know she'll pick up the phone anytime soon, so she's going to do she checked the TCP regulations. She's comfortable. She's going to send out a ringless voicemail, and I think that with the letter should even get her better results.
I'm thinking
so.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Any other questions for Gladys, Tim, or Chad?
Nope.
No,
Gladys, you're in first place for the winner of the week.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate you. All right. Next up is phone number ending in 8230. You're up next.
Hi, my name's Gary. And
hey, Gary.
How you doing? Hey, two things. One is I would like to offer free services that don't involve the real estate, and then, work it around to, kind of like your letter says or your script says, we have free services, and, one of the biggest problems is real estate. Do you have any real estate, blah, blah, blah. But I'd like to get on this call, I'd like to get a list of, resources so that if somebody says, oh, what services, I can just kind of rip down a list and maybe even put it into emails and mailers and things like that. So could you just maybe kind of give me a quick laundry list of the kinds of services that are available?
It's the song that never ends, man. You'll start, with your basic team members. Like, you need to have a solid estate sale company, a clean out crew, a contractor, and ideally probably a punch list contractor, and then a full renovation contractor. A good closing attorney that has experience dealing with title issues. They're not common, but when you encounter them, you'll want to have that. And it can go, down the line. Think about it. Just get in an empathetic state and think, if I were in this situation, or when I was in this situation, if you ever have been, what did I need help with? Because these folks have to figure out, how do they get houses empty? How do they get houses cleaned out? How do they know what the house is worth? How do they get family members into suitable housing when they're on fixed income or no income, or they've never lived independently? So that's where social workers, nursing homes, property managers come into play. And as you get into this, you'll realize every few months you'll add a new spoke to that wheel. You'll add a new team member. Registered investment advisors can help them look at what they can do with the final distribution, how to, preserve and grow that wealth. Estate planning attorneys can make sure that they never go through it. Their family doesn't ever have to go through it again by establishing a living trust. There's just on and on and on. And in Probate Mastery, we spend probably 40 minutes. I have a mind map that kind of expands this all out, and that we show you kind of all the possible team members, 2 or 3 ways to find each one of them, and then the 3 or 4 things that they can do to benefit your business and your clients. So that's kind of the basic team I touched on there. And the other thing I'll tell you, one of the most common apprehensions or procrastinations that we see is half of people think they need to build this absolute dream team before they do anything. And that's a mistake. If you had a $50,000 commission check that your broker wouldn't release to you until you could provide, all of those services in your community, you would get that done in a day. So don't hesitate to begin. You can go forward in good faith. You can say, we can do X, Y, and Z. And if you ever find that you're like, oh my gosh, this family needs to find suitable housing for a family member who has no income and I don't know what to do, you're literally a half an hour call to a social worker away from finding a solution that could take them weeks to emotionally process and find that resource. And you can find what you need in a matter of hours.
Right.
And even on these calls, we've had to find, we've used like hot rod shops to find people who can value 30s and 40s models cars. And Jim had to find a guy that would come in and pay cash for a Lionel train set. So there's some that'll come way out of left field that you'll be like, oh, I will never need, and art is another one. Like a good friend of mine, he uncovered a Salvador Dali painting of King Solomon. It was a $50,000 painting. And the guy had no clue that he had $50,000 sitting in his closet, and he couldn't even buy groceries. And you'll always, that's what's really unique about this lead source is, people collect a lot of things. People have a lot of variables in their personal lives. So don't ever feel like you're behind the 8 ball because you don't have every team member, because you won't. You can spend a whole career doing this and you'll always find new team members you need.
Sounds great. Now, last week I asked the question about buying businesses in probate, and you asked me to send you an email, which I did, and I know it's probably very busy, but is there some way I didn't get a response back. I got an automatic response back actually today or yesterday after several days. Is there some way I should key that off or send it to an admin that can route it to you?
No, I'm in inbox triage. I'll take a look. Is there anything specific I can help you with right now?
No, it was just I've got a guy. You just sounded like you were interested in talking about buying businesses. I'm not an expert. I'm an entrepreneur, but I've worked with an expert, and so I pulled him in to see if he was interested in talking with you, and he's very interested. So. It's not urgent. It's just one of those things that could be an open door to a lot of, another stream of revenue. So
I'll
reply
to your email. I'll reply to your email after this call. I'm just going to give you a link to my calendar, and you get with him. I'm going to put the calendar battleship burden on you. Figure out a time that works for you guys and schedule into my calendar, and we'll have that call.
Okie dokie.
You guys still? Okay.
Jimmy?
Are you there? Yeah, phone number ending in 8762. You're up next.
Hi there, this is Christine Sennett.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, so first off, I just want to say I've been a member for 4 months, and I get on average about 25 contacts a month, and I'm working on my 4th listing. So if every month something happens, I get a lead. So
wow.
I'm very pleased with the results. I started out just doing 1 letter. I've recently upped it to 2 letters, and the ISAs are making phone calls. Of the 4, the last one I got was from an ISA lead call. So the results have been wonderful, and I'm pleased with that. I wanted to ask, so I'm loading these contacts, I'm with Keller Williams, so I'm utilizing Command and trying to just do a little bit more on brand recognition as it pertains to the probate sector. And I know you guys, I've watched your videos on social media and all that. Do you have any ad copies around social media, or what is your thought in using that as a means that we add to our marketing plan?
Now, are you talking about targeted social media advertising to the personal representatives, or are you talking about
Yes.
just blasting your community?
No, to the representatives.
I think it was 2 Mastermind calls ago. You can go back and listen to, well, we'll just go through it again. So the recipe for success there is being hyper-local. So you can upload your list of personal representatives as a custom audience, and you're going to match on first name, last name, phone number, email. You'll get between 85 and 90% match rates, even though Facebook won't show you that anymore. Just be confident. Like every list we've ever ran through there, like because we have a direct communication with Facebook, they can tell us what the match rates are. So you're going to have a very high match rate. What tends to work best are videos. If you can imagine, that person in the last 30 days, they've had to get themselves into a position emotionally where they were ready to go to the courthouse. So in a very, emotional state, they approached the county courthouse and walked up that big staircase and through the front door. So that's a really good place to quickly, because with social media, you have about 2 seconds to interrupt. And so it's interrupt, engage, educate, and then call to action. So just that image, they know that's familiar. It's connected to the stress that they're feeling now. So it's a great interruption piece. So a video of you standing on the courthouse steps, just saying what you would say if you were talking to them in person. Hi, my name's Chad. I've got a team of people here locally that help families going through probate. And as part of that, we actually come down here to the courthouse every month, and we visit the county clerk, and we find out which families are going through this so we can proactively reach out. You may have gotten a letter from us. You may have even have a voicemail you haven't returned, and now you see that we're here. We do everything we can to reach out early because we know it makes a massive difference in the amount of money the family can retain and the amount of time and stress, and it reduces the amount of time and stress involved. So there's 2 things you can do now. There's a number right below me. You can call me right now on that. That's my cell phone. Or right below that, there's a button you can schedule directly into my calendar. And I will give you a call at a time that best works for you. And you can also, the other thing you can do is put in like a shorter video, like a 15-second video, and get them to click over to a landing page where you have that longer form video of you at the courthouse. You have to test each way, but what we found when we were offering this as a service, we called it lead follow, and we would run the ads with images, and we would run retargeting. We got super high impression and engagement rates, but we didn't get that many conversions. And when you take it down and you put the actual person in the local market, and that's obvious in the video, you get a much different result. So we weren't able to scale that because it's trying to get people to make their own videos and do a good job and get that back to you is next to impossible. I won't say it is impossible, but it was certainly hard to scale. So the best thing you can do is, just if you can always come back to this recording, and I think it was 2 calls ago that we also had this conversation. Go back through the recordings and, where you can take it one step at a time. But, and I would, as far as budget goes, I mean, you have 25 leads per month, you said?
Yep.
Yeah, so what you want to do is combine all the leads you've ever gotten in that audience, and each month just add them to the audience. The larger your audience, the cheaper your cost per result will be. And as far as budget, what we found in testing is if you're spending less than $500 a month on a budget, I don't want to say you get penalized, but there's certainly economy of scale in larger budgets. Facebook will reward that, and you'll have a cheaper cost per impression if you have a higher budget. And with a $500 budget, we were seeing between, when we were doing this at scale, we were seeing anywhere from 13 to 20 daily impressions just spending $500. And if you think about it, I mean, you're marketing to over 100 people at this point. And if you're spending, and I'm talking about a monthly budget, obviously not a daily budget. But if you're spending $500 a month to reach those 100 people, and I'll tell you this: you will be the only person, one of the only people in the country doing this, and I bet you're the only person in your market that's targeting these people. So you should see, if you can get up to that level of budget, you should see some real movement. You'll really move the needle. If you can't, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be successful. It's just your cost per impression is going to be higher.
Gotcha.
Okay. Excellent. We have 12 in the queue, guys. We're going to really try to get to everybody. If you have multiple questions, I would ask you to maybe ask your most important one first. And if we don't answer all of them right after the call, just send us an email and we'll get back to you one-on-one. Next up is phone number 2076. You're up next.
Hi, this is Gisela from Whittier, California, and my question was, I was kind of like, I came to you guys through Frank, and one of the letters that I have to send is my third letter, and it has the executor duties on it. And I was looking at that. Well, I want to ask first, are you familiar with it?
Yes, we
What
do
if Frank?
mailing for those. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because what my question is that, you know, I was trying to kind of like understand and kind of like digest, you know, the different steps that the executor has to go through. Is there like you know, something that you guys have that will help us kind of like understand what this person needs to do? You know, like the different steps that they have to do when they're.
If you want
know,
to, well, in the interest of time, I'm going to interrupt and try to run through this in a couple minutes or less. If you want the long form, it's taught in Probate Mastery, where we kind of go through the entire probate timeline and what the whole process looks like. And what's that, Tim?
I didn't say anything.
No, that's okay. Our next, she dropped off and our next caller jumped in. We'll be with you in just a minute. Next caller. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead, Tom.
So anyway,
Chad.
Mastery has the long form of this. We'll show you all the player, you know, every one that plays a role in the process, how they fit into the timeline, and all the responsibilities. In a couple minutes or less, I'll try to do my best. So what we find is from the date of death until the date of probate filing, there's typically a 2-month period. That's not a rule or a law. It's just observation of human behavior. So usually you're going to see the family will wait a couple months. They'll emotionally process it. At that point, they go to the county clerk's office. They file a petition for probate, and at that point, their title becomes the petitioner. Usually the next week, the initial hearing will be scheduled. Oh, sorry, back up. So the documents that the probate clerk asks them to gather is, you know, the death certificate, the will if there was one, a list of assets, list of heirs, list of liabilities, and some other paperwork. It can vary from market to market. At that point, they're known as the petitioner. They go to the local newspaper. They publish notice for at least 21 days to notice to creditors, and then they wait for the initial hearing. In most markets, that's going to happen the following week. When that hearing comes up, the judge will say, okay, we've got Jane Doe who's petitioning to be the administrator of the estate of John Doe. Does anybody object? If no, then boom, she's approved. And at that point, she's issued what's known as the letters of testamentary or letters of authority. That's when she can sign contracts, she can open bank accounts, she can sell cars, she can sell real estate, she can move forward with the responsibilities she's been tasked with. From there, it's a little different in each state. I'll try to stay at a high level and not get too into like California, Nevada, Hawaii can be a little more complex. But for the most part, their job is to take an inventory of assets, an inventory of liabilities, and liquidate the assets to settle the liabilities. And if there was a will, they follow the will as the roadmap. If there was not a will, that's intestate succession, then they will follow the state succession laws. At this point, a probate attorney is usually assigned to about 80% of families will have a probate attorney, 20% will try it on their own. And at this point, it really comes down to how complex the estate was and how motivated or diligent the administrator or the personal representative is. It can take as little as 6 months in some markets as a very quick probate, and it can take as long as 10 or 20 years if they find themselves in family litigation. So that they start to spread out and just go in all directions, past that initial point. But for the most part, they're tasked with saying, this is what this person owned, this is what this person owed, and here's how we're going to settle these out, and here's how assets will be distributed. Along the way, they have to get access to or open a bank account, get access to safety deposit boxes, go through the home, find the bills, the utilities, the things, and notify them that, that this person has passed and they need to submit their final invoices. They have to file a final tax return, pay all state, local, federal taxes, and account all of this back to the probate attorney, who ultimately takes it back to the court. When the court sees that final accounting, probate they'll have the final hearing. At that point, the judge will go through the accounting, and he pays out in a priority. The administration costs are paid first. That means the funeral home, medical expenses, any professionals that submitted invoices in order to process this. Below that are so you've got your administration costs, then taxes, then you have general creditors who are paid out, and then lastly you have the heirs. So a lot of people think that the family gets that probate is about distributing assets. It's more about settling liabilities, and then the assets left over are distributed. So you can always go back to the recording, and a few minutes or less, that's a pretty thorough run through of what's going to be happening in any market. If you want to dig in deeper, my advice, and right now, with social distancing, you're going to get off the hook. I usually ask people to go look the county clerk in the eye and create a real relationship. That's not really an option right now. So if you still have blind spots, or if you just want to have the highest level of confidence, get on the phone, call your county clerk, tell them what you're doing in the community and that you want to hold yourself to the highest standard possible. Could they please walk you through the process and help you understand? And so far, I've never been shut down. County clerks, sometimes they're hesitant because no one's ever had the courage to do that and ask them that. So it's really outside of the box. But they will usually engage with, so far in my experience, they'll always engage with you and answer all your questions. And it usually takes less than 10 minutes to completely clear anyone's questions. I'm done.
All right, we have 12 more in the queue. So guys, like I said, let's try to keep it to one, and let's try to make it through as many of you as possible. Next up is phone number ending in 7222. You're up next.
Hello, this is Dennis Malonis in Destin, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Hey. Just basically, I'm looking to do this historical letter for sure. How far back would you suggest we go? I've got an average of about 60 a month for the last, last 3 years. So, how far back would you suggest we go?
If your budget will support it, I would recommend 24 months.
Okay.
We found pretty consistently since we started, we've found come list me calls back 24 months. And you got to think, those are the people who procrastinated the most, who still have they're still in the probate quicksand, and they need something to break them through. And a lot of times all it takes is one phone call or one letter, because they haven't been solicited to for months. Like, sometimes some people hit it hard in the first 3 months, and then they just forget about that person. And that person retreats into their comfort zone, does nothing, and the house is sitting there getting less and less valuable every day in most cases. So don't be surprised if you shake the trees and you're getting listings from lists you forgot that are long forgotten.
Okay. So would I start 4 months or 3 months back, because I'm still mailing letters for the first, still letting 1, 2, 3, or change up those letters?
Yeah, I mean, this is a one-time campaign, so you could go back. When I did these, I would go back 6 months. And I would hit everything from 6 months to 2 years.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
There was one of these I did. I went from 6 months to 2 years, which represented about 2,000 leads, and that created a bit of a problem for the next couple of weeks because we had more listings than we could process. Because I just did a ringless voicemail blast and hit everybody. And there were I think 5 come list me calls in one day was my record, but that was a pretty good day.
All right, next up is phone number ending in 5575. You're up next. There's a lot of background noise. If you could pick up, that would be helpful if you're on a speakerphone. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, much better. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Great. How about you?
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm just kind of starting out. I'm trying to get my my USP down pat. I went over with my fiance last night, who's about to get a realtor's license. She kind of helped me organize the USP a little bit. My general USP, which is usually met with an objection. So I'm kind of trying to nail down the few objections that are in session 3 of Probate Mastery. Anyway, I had 2 questions. I wanted to ask you and Chad about, what they thought about what exactly I need to nail down as far as the USP and going into the objections. If y'all had any advice about, not really reciting it. I'm explaining to my fiance that it's not so much a script as it is more of a, it's very open-ended dynamic.
You
so
get a gold star.
Yeah, could you give me any feedback on that, Chad? Or?
Yeah, so what I learned early where I was not in control of my conversations is that people were, and let's just call it my first 20 phone calls, people always had the same questions, and it's more habitual. They're like, wait a minute, who are you? How did you get this phone number? Well, what do you want? And it was always the same questions. And as soon as they did that, they had me back on my heels, and they were controlling the conversation. I was being responsive instead of being a leader. So I just found a way to address all those things up front. And very similar to the video script that I just shared earlier about the Facebook ad, that's basically exactly what I say. So, listen, we've got a team of people. The reason I'm calling is we have a team of people here locally that we've put together specifically to help families that are going through what yours is. And as part of that, we go visit the county clerk each month. We find out who the families are, and we reach out as early as we can, because we know it can make a huge difference in the amount of money the family gets to retain, and we can drastically shorten the amount of time and the level of stress that it takes. So what's been the toughest thing for you guys so far?
And then they
so
say
I told you all those things.
things.
I told you who I was. I gave you a general idea of what I do. I told you, I showed that I'm local. I went to the courthouse, and you can say that in good faith. I mean, we're going to the courthouse for you, but you can consider us a member of your team.
Oh, absolutely.
You literally have one of your team members goes in the courthouse. So I addressed all those things up front. The best way to defeat the objection is not let it arise. And the one thing I'll underscore is you always, it's critical to end on an open-ended emotional question. And this gives you some time for your brain to catch up. It puts them back on their heels. Silence is key. Once you ask that question, the one that I used there was, what's been the toughest thing for you so far? You can say things like, what is this the first time your family has ever been through this? Well, if you could delegate one thing, what would today and get it off your plate, what would that be? Or does it look like this is going to be pretty straightforward, or are you finding that it's more intimidating and difficult than you expected? Questions like that bring up negative emotions, quite frankly, because that's the problem we're trying to pinpoint so we can build rapport, and they're going to tell us exactly what they want to hear. A lot of times they'll tell you what the solution is.
Right. And I know a lot of times, kind of in that first blurb, in the initial part of the USP, we're usually covering a few of the services that we offer, that are in the system that we have, clean out crew, of course.
Sometimes, and I'll say this, that's the one thing that I change more than anything in the USP.
I noticed that.
And it's based on, I'm rushing through them. Like today, I'm talking really fast because we got a lot of stuff. Like if you've got a person, read the tone of the conversation in the beginning. Right. If you've got somebody that's just in a hurry, hello, this is Dave. What can I do for you? Then that person, you want to be as concise as possible, right? But if you pick up and it's a surviving spouse and in Georgia and he's like, well, hello, yeah, this is Sam. Sam's got all damn day to find out about what you do, and he probably will respond well if you give him specific examples of things you've done to help others in the community. And Sam, it really starts with us understanding kind of what position you're in, what your goals are, and we'll make some suggestions, and we'll let you choose how we help you. That sound good? And you slow it down. You can give specific examples and stories.
And how do you reveal? At what point do you bring up the real estate? I know a lot of times we'll tag that onto the list of services we offer. And if you want to, securing and selling the property, as you have put it before. How do you? I know, like you said, you have to read their pace and their level of entry, kind of where they're at. But how do you suggest introducing that?
When you have engagement, like when you're in strong dialogue, meaning they're responding, you ask a question and they take the bait. They go where you want them to go. That means you're in rapport. Right. We know that the biggest problem for most families is real estate related. It's the personal property, the real property, the expenses of those things, like the physical hurdle of dealing with those things. So we know that, and it's it's patience is a virtue when it comes to this, because everyone else is calling, and what they're showing is all they care about is the real estate. They just completely skip over the people aspect. So until you've nailed down the people aspect and that person feels heard and they're actually engaged with you, then just be patient and don't go to the real estate. You can talk about whatever. Don't even mention it. And it's hard because like a lot of us, we've built our careers on being direct, aggressive prospectors. But I'm telling you, you'll do 10 times more business in this niche if you follow my advice and you focus on the people in the situation. And it's literally a 5-second segue into real estate. Well, Sam, listen, I'm really, really glad I was able to connect with you today. I think you're going to be surprised how we can help you. Let's start here. I would say 9 out of 10 families, their biggest stress is real estate because there's got houses full of stuff and sometimes more than one, and people are out of state. I mean, you name it. It's a challenging thing for most families. So let's start there. Is there any real estate, and what's your plan?
Right.
And then
thanks so much, Chad.
Silent.
Great answer. One more.
You still there, sir? Hello?
I think you got cut off.
Yep, sorry about that. Okay, next up is phone number ending in 4079. You're up next.
That's me.
You're up.
All right, honey. This is Rhonda from North Georgia Mountains. And actually, when all this happened with whatever's going on, which I think is total BS with the current environment in the country or the world, I was actually happy because as far as making phone calls, I figured, they're trapped like rats. They're all in quarantine. So, basically.
They includes we, right? We are trapped like rats.
Thank God I'm trapped like rats. I'm trapped like a rat because I'm so ADD. But one thing I wanted to say, too, is that as far as being scared and people being concerned, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, probate is recession-proof. People are going to die, for lack of not to sound callous, but I specialize in seniors, and it's kind of like the natural progression. You're going to kick off. We're all going to go there. So anyway, that was my real quick thing. And on one of my phone calls, I wanted to ask, I called up, and the guy did not have an attorney. And basically how he responded to me was, why do I, because I said, I see you do not have an attorney, because I introduced myself and, did the, these are the services offer, blah, blah, blah. And he said, why do I need an attorney when all the siblings are agreeing on everything? And, I was kind of stumped. I thought, well, what do I say? So how would you respond to something like that?
So it sounds like you think that I'm role-playing. It sounds like you think probate attorneys are litigation attorneys. And I just want to be clear, like a probate attorney is more of a guidance counselor for probate. It's if everybody's getting along, that's great, and that's most commonly, I know you may have heard horror stories, but most families don't have a problem with each other. So you need to separate that in your head. So a probate attorney is someone who has a deep understanding and a daily interaction with our state succession laws and the probate process in our county. And what a lot of families who don't have counsel, what they find is 2, 3, 4 months in, they don't really have anyone to ask questions to. At a certain point, the probate clerk is not allowed to answer certain questions because they don't have a bar license. So you can think of it as, if you have a very simple estate, then maybe you don't need it. But if there's a will, it's, the will pretty clearly states what needs to happen. And sometimes families that have a will and everybody on the same page don't need counsel. But if there's no will and you don't have a deep understanding of state succession laws, you can create a lot of liability for yourself. Have you thought about, as the administrator, what happens if you make a mistake that ultimately costs the estate money and all of a sudden all of your siblings do turn on you and then you need a litigation attorney? So think of a probate attorney can be insurance against the litigation attorney that you had in mind. Does that make sense?
Okay, you're magic. There you go.
That's all.
All right. Chad, we still have 10 in the queue, and we're coming up on the hour.
I'm good.
The good news.
I'd say we roll.
Okay, the good news is we had 154 people, and we've only lost 5. So if we notice you guys are dropping off, you want to go another 10, 15 minutes, try to get to as many as we can?
Yeah, let's just say a 2:45. That gives us 18 more minutes.
Okay, so guys, again, I don't know that we'll get to everyone, but please try to limit it to one question and be as concise as possible. We appreciate it. Next up is phone number ending in 8484. You're up next.
Hi, my name is Mike. I'm from Massachusetts, and my question is, when you're dealing with somebody that doesn't have any money, is there a way that you can do repairs and removal of, personal items and somehow back charge them when they do have the closing, like some type of lien?
Sure. So there's a video series that we do called Tips from the Trainer. And if you go to alltheleads.com and in the top right, you'll see a global search bar. And just type in the number 5 and ways. I can't remember the full title. And Kat will link it in the show notes for this episode when we archive it. But that video gives you 5 creative ways that you can basically turn your partners into lenders, or you can find money to help with this. I'll give you a couple ideas. So so what you need done is the house needs cleaned out and the house needs fixed up. Is that what you're looking to cover? 2 different things?
I think we lost him already, Chad, but go ahead.
So I'll run on that assumption. If the house needs cleaned out and personal property needs removed, if there's value in that property, then obviously you hire an estate sale company. They're going to take 20 to 50% of the gross sale price. So they get paid off of their actions in real time. Now the house is cleaned out, it needs repairs to pass inspection, the family has no money, there's no money in the estate's bank account. What do? You can sell the house at a discount, or you can think creatively. So if you have a good contractor, and by good contractor, I mean one that's driving a new pickup, runs his business like a business, has cash reserves, so he's able to float a loan. So you go to that contractor, you say, hey, Bill, I really appreciate you. We always pay you cost plus 15 on jobs. How would you like to make cost plus 20 on one? Well, I'm all ears, or cost plus 25. So you can give Bill the contractor, say, listen, if you can come over here, we need about $5,000 worth of work done. I want you to submit an invoice to the closing company, submit an invoice to the probate court, and then go record a mechanics lien. And we're going to give you a 10% premium to carry this through to closing. We'll pay you back at the closing table. If something happens and it doesn't close, you have to be paid out of the final distribution. You'll be a general creditor on the probate. So you've got 2 layers of protection, and you can make a 10% premium for doing me and this seller a big favor. How's that sound? So you turn your contractor into a lender. The other thing you can do, find a real estate investor, a pawn shop owner, find somebody who's financially savvy, who has a high risk tolerance, and show them the exact same thing. Just say, man, if you could loan this family $30,000, I know I can turn that into $100 for them. And we'll let you can submit an invoice to escrow. You can submit an invoice to the probate court. You'll have at least 2 layers of protection. And I think that, most estate advance companies are charging credit card interest rates. So let's just say we'll get you 15%. Is that a good enough return on your money? I know you're a savvy investor. 15% is pretty good. Can you do it? And then set it up that way. So you can use private money. You can use your vendor relationships. There are estate advance companies, but I've yet to meet one that I feel good recommending. So I like to just make my own creative deals to get this done.
Perfect. Next up is phone number ending in 6222. You're up next.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Henry, and I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I've completed the mastery course, and I'm sort of attempting to retool myself in Brooklyn to focus more on probate. But my problem is I'm having difficulty getting the listing for my county. I've been on the waiting list for a little bit. Any way to shake something loose for me?
What county is that? Brooklyn County?
Kings County.
Kings County. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll have our salespeople check, and the only thing we can do for you, Henry, we really do try to honor and respect the fact that we don't want to sell these counties, a dozen times. We want to give our subscribers a fighting chance. But having said that, a lot of times the people on the wait list are no longer interested. So I'll take a look at it. And are you on the wait list now? Did you ask to be put on it?
I am currently. I've been on for almost 2 months now.
All right. We'll see if we can shake the tree, and if anybody ahead of you falls off, that's about all we can do. The only other thing is there an adjoining county that you might want to do in the meantime, or are you strictly Kings?
I'm sort of focusing on Kings. I live there,
okay,
and I haven't really considered the adjoining county yet, quite frankly.
All right, let me see what I can do for you after the call. I'll have one of our salespeople. At least they'll reach out and let you know where you're at on the list and what to expect. Fair enough?
That's fair.
All right, thank you, sir. Next up is phone number ending in 9607. You're up next.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Sorry I had my mask off there for a second. I had to put it on. Just a little familiar for the current time.
Yeah, don't infect us on this phone call. Come on.
Thanks for sparing us.
No problem. Hey, this is Paul from Colorado Springs. I do have just a couple, but they should be fast. The earlier caller, Gladys, what letters was she using? Is it just the ones that you typically use?
Yeah, I believe she's using our option letter, the basic option letter. She's sending it out 3 times.
Okay, and I'll investigate more of that. I'm trying to retool. I went through this. I went through the mastery program back in May. And I did not pull the trigger at that time, but I had quite a bit of business going with for sale by owners and stuff like that, and as you can imagine, that has magically dried up overnight. So I'm going back to the well here. I'm going to see if I can resurrect this whole thing. On that note, having taken that class last May, is there a way to see the January classes that you referenced earlier in the call?
Yeah, email support@alltheleads.com and ask them. Tell them that Chad said to send the last mastery recordings to you.
Okay.
And as far as just real quick, as far as the letters that you're asking about, what Gladys is doing, the thing about this is that the content of the letter is important, but what's literally more important is repetition. And she's following the system and sending out multiple letters to the same people, and it's not always the first letter, not always the second letter. Sometimes it's the third letter. Sometimes it's a letter that you sent out 3 or 4 months ago. It's repetition, not so much the content. The letters deliver the fact that you're the probate guy, and that's really the point.
Okay. As far as website access, does that come with a continued paid membership? Is that how that works?
You mean as far as the portal, the members portal?
Yeah, I don't believe I thought I had set up a login on there, but I'm not finding it in my LastPass account, and so I'm guessing maybe I didn't, and so I didn't know if there's a way to access all that material having been in the master class, or how does that tend to work?
Yeah, so if you haven't been a lead subscriber, you don't actually have a login.
Okay.
Most everything we do, you have access to on the public side as far as the training and resources.
Okay, cool.
Once you get signed up for leads, that's when you get a login, and you'll have a CRM, and all your leads will be loaded into there. You can set up your mailers and everything.
And then
Paul, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, in the course of all that, then does it also have some of the different? I know we've talked in the past, and you've mentioned things like trifold brochures and stuff like that are editable and can go out to different people and things like that. Is all that in that process as well?
Everything is there, and we have people that work with you to do that. If you need anything at all, and any type of help that you need, whether it's something that we are doing and show you online, or any kind of mailing that you want to do, if it's not there, you don't see what you're looking for, drop a message to support, and we'll call you. We can custom create anything that you want, and we can also do stuff based on stuff we've already done. We're a full service print shop.
Cool.
And
then
Paul,
I just voicemail. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I'm just trying to be expedient with time. You've answered that one pretty well.
Yep.
So like the ringless voicemail, is that also through your CRM?
No.
It is
we
not.
do that
so
through
there's a company.
Go ahead, bud.
Okay, cool. I have some access to that. And then, go ahead.
If you have,
you know what, Paul? Let me jump in, if you will. Your salesperson and your account rep is Darcy. I'll have her reach out to you after the call. She can answer all those questions, including the ringless voicemail component. You can either do it yourself, like Sly Broadcast, or we have a company called Voice Logic out of Canada that we have a real good relationship with. But if it's okay, I'll have Darcy reach out to you right after the call.
Sure. If I can, one more really quick one. Is there a place that I can go to see more about the video that you referenced earlier? I'm kind of a video guy. I like that stuff. I'm actually one who will go on camera and speak, and so I really like the sound of that. This is the first I've heard of it because I've been intermittent with the calls, but is there a place I can find out more about that?
Darcy can tell you every bit of that, bud. She can ask her anything you want. We'll get it all to you that way. How about that?
Thanks, guys.
All right. Sorry, guys, if we appear to be rushing you. We really don't like to let any call go unanswered. So we got about 6 more. Next up is phone number ending in 0727. You're up next.
Okay, how you guys doing? This is John off in Dallas, Texas. How's everybody doing?
Hey, John.
On the line?
Great.
Great.
Doing good, buddy. What's up?
Good deal. Good deal. Okay, so first thing, I have a statement. First statement is that, guys, I'm very new to all the leads, but I'm drinking from a water hose. I am blown away with all the content and all the value you guys bring. So kudos to you. I've never seen anything like it. In fact, hosting in other places before, but this is amazing. Number 2, cash buyers. So it's my pleasure. Cash buyers. So as I'm going through some of the older content that I was sent when I first got in, cash buyers, we mentioned trying to find them, like showing up at the so I'm in Dallas County, showing up on the court steps. That's not going to be viable right now, or even the REIA groups are not meeting right now. Is there a different strategy that I could use to obtain some cash buyers that I can call through and have them?
So most REIAs are using meetup.com to promote their meetings. Okay. And in Dallas, you have like 4 different REIAs that are on Meetup. You can go there, you can see the member profiles, and you can communicate that way. That's not real efficient, but it's a way to do it. You probably also have private Facebook groups for each REIA. Get yourself into those groups. Start talking. Find out what people are looking for. Who has cash? Who's been sitting on the sidelines? And when are they ready to buy? Those are, right now, considering the environment we're in, those are the best 2 ideas I have.
Awesome, good deal. Can I piggyback into that a little bit more? Is there like a good questionnaire or whatever that can be created to help us kind of get through to the 10% who are really real, as opposed to the 90% of people who are tire kickers and shit? Well, tire kickers.
Stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, tire kickers, who maybe read a book or whatever, and they're not going to do any deals. Is there?
Yeah. So, hey, listen, I found you on the local Dallas REIA Facebook page, and I was able to find your phone number. Just wanted to chat real quick and see. We're doubling down in this environment because we see more opportunity than we do threat. And I'm trying to connect with all the cash buyers around and see, because I realize that when things break loose, it's going to be fast. So what's the deal for you? Are you looking for rentals? Are you looking for flips? Are you looking for wholesales? Like, what kind of deals have you been doing? And if you get a hum-haw answer like, oh well, we really, we're gonna start with wholesaling, and we're gonna use that to generate cash. And when they start echoing the crap they heard on YouTube, you pretty much can pass. A guy who's doing deals will be like, oh, that's awesome, man. Like, yeah, so we've got 3 flips underway right now. We're looking for more inventory on that. But listen, we've got a rental portfolio in this town. What do you got? And if they put it back at you and you feel embarrassed, then you got the right guy on the phone, and you better go find him some deals. But find out how he values a deal. Just because he flips houses doesn't mean he's using the 70% rule. There are guys flipping houses at 10% margins. They're foolish, but they're doing it. And if they're going to pay that high of a price, then go find them the assets. If he's a landlord, find out, is he using a gross rent multiplier or cap rate, the 1% rule? How does he value, and how is he paying? What's his finance strategy? Is it cash? Is it line of credit? Is it hard money? And the Burr strategy? Figure out as much as you can about their business and you'll know what deals to put in front of them, and you'll know what deals to go hunt for.
All right, next up is Sean, phone number ending in 8183. Frequent caller. How you doing, Sean? Or John? I think it's John, right?
J-O-H-N.
J-O-H-N. I was close.
Yeah, close, except the letters weren't the same.
Exactly. What's up, John?
So listen, quick, Gladys, which letter? That was answered. The options letter. What coaching? I've never gotten any coaching. How come I don't get coaching? I want coaching. Sign me up for coaching. And
well, we figured that you already know everything. You don't need any coaching.
I know nothing, man. You're the gurus. If I knew everything, I wouldn't be here every week.
I know.
So I'm smart enough to know I don't know everything. There you go. So letters. I'm just my third letter hit. 2 counties, 2 letters for one county, 1 letter for the other. 3 letters have gone out. Roughly, let's say 250 letters. Not a response yet from the letters. I'm wondering, I have it set up for 3 letters, 1 month apart, with the same exact letter each time. I'm wondering, since I have no track record, don't know what's going to happen in the market, mix it up with a different letter each time and see what happens. Maybe move to a 1-3-6 month mailing plan, as you guys just and I've got a call coming in from Equity Growth Realty. I'm going to listen to your answer on the John Michaelides. How can I help you?
Okay. Darcy, so you're up next, but do you want to answer him?
Mail.
Yeah, go ahead. Answer him, and then we'll take Darcy.
He just wants to know about mail frequency. Here's what we know. 83% of sales happen between marketing touch 7 and 12. If your budget supports it, put more letters in the mail. You can't call a direct mail campaign a failure based on such a small cross-section in time. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5 letters in certain markets. If your budget will support it, get the mail out. If your budget doesn't support it, double down on the phones, make more calls. The more contact attempts you have, the higher your conversion rate is, the higher your income is.
Perfect. Next up is Darcy,
Hello?
phone number 7653. You're up next.
Can I call you right back? Yes, this is Darcy from Florida. Hey, I have a question about the letters.
Okay.
Now, when I do the, wait, what are you guys talking about, come list me letters? What is that? What's the come list me letters? Where is it?
We're saying a come list me call in response to a letter, like where they pick up the phone and be like, bring paperwork, we're doing this today.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, with the letters, when I go into the letters and I am clicking on a letter, it automatically takes me to the old letters. Like if I have a letter that I've never, kind of looked over, and when I click on it, it actually goes to the other letters that I've sent out or that I've, kind of tweaked.
So we're like respectfully, Darcy, this is more of a support question since we have a few more people in the queue and we're trying to finish up. Could you call the main phone number and Cindy or Toby will walk you through that?
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up is phone number ending in 4934. You're up next.
Hey, Donnell from Newport News, Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Are y'all out of Virginia?
Chad is one of our, yep.
Okay, so y'all familiar with when you go to the probate, get the probate list, and that's, I'm just wondering, do you send letters to everybody on the list, or do you send letters to people who say they have real estate?
How much money you want to make?
Huh?
How much money you want to make?
I don't want to make all the money I can.
There's the average inheritance in the U.S. right now is about $177,000. So are you coming at this from brokerage, investment, or both?
I think we lost him already. It sounded like he was on a shaky Excel connection, but
okay.
Yeah,
so my advice is you should reach out to every single family. You should send a letter and make a phone call to every lead, all the leads. Because the average inheritance in this country is $177,000. If you're just an investor, that means you need private money. So if a family is about to inherit a windfall of cash and you can show them how to become your private lender and secure it with assets right there in town on a first position, why would you not make that phone call? A lot of investors skip over opportunities to create financing opportunities for themselves because they're so focused on a wholesale deal or so focused on this or that or whatever they heard on YouTube. Just use your head. If a family needs help and you can help them with using vendor partners, not do any of the work yourself, get all the social credit and turn them into your long-term private money lender, how many of those calls have you had this week? And how many, like if you reach out to this probate list, how many opportunities, how many millions of dollars in private capital can you raise while helping that family preserve and grow generational wealth? And as far as you know, the ones like anyways, I'll leave it at that. Get the list, reach out to everybody, focus on people and situation, and then you'll find a way to help and monetize it.
Chad, it's a quarter after. We have two more. Let's power through them. Second to last is phone number ending in 9878. You're second to last.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Hey. I was wondering if you have any material like in your library or whatever that I could find that might talk about if a house has already been sold and now, but there's a 6-month right of redemption, if there's anything that can be done or how to go about doing that.
Sure. That's very specific to a couple states, but go ahead, Chad. And I'm going to go to the last person.
I'm not familiar with a redemption period in probate.
Yeah. There's only a couple states.
If all the parties agree to the sale, are you saying a court-ordered sale?
I think he's gone already, Chad. I'm sorry. That last caller, send an email to support@alltheleads, and we'll call you back and go over that. It's just such a specific situation that only applies to 1 or 2 states. But call the main number or support@alltheleads. And last up, we saved the best for last, is Richard, phone number ending in 4512. You're up last.
Alabama brings up the rear, guys.
And you got 30 seconds, so no pressure.
There you go. I'm not. Hey, if I start laughing, you're gonna have to forgive me. I want a come list me letter. I want one of those. I need to get with Natalie right at. The only way you're gonna get a come list me letter is send out all your. How many times? Of course, I know y'all tell these guys all the time, and I'm one of the lucky ones. I did follow what you directed me to do. Send them out 3 times, and then they'll give you a call. But Chad, but let me tell you, when I got in my March leads yesterday, it hurt me when I didn't have all my data from our beta testing. I was sitting there looking, I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now?
We'll get it there soon, man.
I know. And, hey, but I will say, guys, I appreciate everything. I've been with, I guess, now for about 1.5 years, 2 years. But as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to do away with my Zillow leads. Matter of fact, at the end of the month.
Excellent.
So that's going to save me a few thousand.
What you save on Zillow, you could add about 10 counties with us. You could, take the whole state, right?
Well, that's there's a few others I've been. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. So, but anyway, other than that, hey, before I let you go, one thing, I've never had this to happen. I got off the call earlier after I set in for my message, but that's the first time I had a come list me call while I was on the program.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. Y'all do a great job.
All right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for sharing. Guys, I got to tell you, I start off by saying how impressed I am with this group. We had 154 people. We've still got 120-some left. So you guys are patient. You stayed to the end. It's the most participation we've ever had. We had 3 or 4 really good positive stories. We had about 15 people actively participate. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I want to particularly thank those that participated, and I want to challenge each of you, take one of the many inspiring stories you heard today, go out, try it, put it into practice, and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great, healthy, safe, and productive week, and we will talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.